Hey, Chanel here, Queen of Skirts. I have a new skirt design. I'll show you what it is. Coming up. Hey, Chanel here, fashion designer, costume designer, and self-proclaimed Queen of Skirts. Bringing you inspiration for your sewing designs. So be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on a new video. Well, I'm back to make another skirt. I just finished this skirt. It's my bird skirt. I don't know if you saw the video I just posted about this making of the bird skirt. I had panels that I found in Big Bear, and I found two of them, and this was my first one. So I did, it was a bird panel, and then I did a contrast gray silk charmeuse. It's like a wash silk, and then a Dupioni silver right here, and I even put a little bird on the end. So cute. So that was one of my creative little ways to use fashion panels. I discovered fashion panels when I was in a quilt store back in Tennessee a few months ago, and I was like, what do you do with these? I also have a video out there on the panels I found with the Van Gogh prints, and I went to the Van Gogh exhibit and made a skirt to go with it, so be sure to look for those. I'll put them at the end of this video in the suggested videos on the end cap, and you can find them there. But this one was really simple to make, so you know, whenever I find a panel, I'm just gonna make new ones. But my next panel, so I was in Big Bear, California, which is one of my favorite little mountain towns. Wanted to move there, but the last time I went, the road to get up that mountain was a little treacherous. I think in my younger days it didn't mind me so much, but this time I was a passenger. I'm usually driving it, and it feels different when you're a passenger because you're like, whoa, whoa, like that, and you feel like you're going over the cliffs. So I was thinking, you know, probably don't want to live here because you got to go down the mountain every once in a while, and then I'd get a little dizzy. So, oh well, what are you gonna do? So while I was there, I found a couple quilt stores. It was pretty cool. There's actually two of them there in this little town, and I found this beautiful panel. It's a bear. I have to figure out the name for it, but I saw this and was like, oh my God, he's beautiful. Not that I ever want to meet a bear, but one time I was driving up to Big Bear, and there was two bears on the side of the road. I was going up late at night and going camping with some friends, and there was two bears up there. I was like, bears, they really exist. Anyway, so I'm going to put this bear right here, like that, and then I have some fabric left over that I used on the Van Gogh skirt. It's this Panne velvet. Oh my gosh. So velvet and cotton, they can go together. I don't remember what this is made out of. I think it's a silk rayon blend, but it's beautiful. So look at how these two colors go together. Oh my gosh. Then after Big Bear, I had gone to LA to go do some fabric shopping, and I sent this bear home with my husband in the suitcase, a 50-pound, 49.5-pound suitcase that I bought fabric with. And I went fabric shopping again, and then I was like, you know, I need some blue for this bear. And so I went into Mood Fabrics where they were all sectioned off in colors, and I was sitting there looking at the blues going, oh my God, what blue was in that? Because there's a whole bunch of blues. But this is one of the blues. I think it's gonna work pretty well. I don't know if you can see them, but they're in there. So I'm gonna do this blue just as this gray panel here, and then the Panne velvet on the other side. So these three colors. And I think the cotton right here will make this, this a little bit more casual. So that's my plan. Also, I wanted to show you what my other choice was. I love this fabric. To me, it looks like, I don't know, night sky, water, something like that. But this with that. Now I did this, I didn't use this. I was thinking I used this in the Van Gogh skirt, but I didn't. But it was these two colors and this. So put in the comments below if you think I should have used this. I hope not. We'll see how this blue turns out because I really can't decide. But I thought also with using this right here might make everything look too dark, or it might be darker. So I think the blue might lighten it up. We'll see. I could always make another one. I could call the store in Big Bear and buy another one. So let me know what you think. Anyway, I'm gonna get this cut out. I have my pattern from the last one. It was pretty easy to cut out. And I'll make it with you. All right, I have my first pattern face up on green, my selvage right here. I have to cut these out one at a time because I have an uneven piece of fabric, and then I just have to roll them down. It's kind of a pain, but I also have, this is a really strong nap, so I have the smooth side going down, which always makes it a little lighter. And I think my Van Gogh skirt, I cut it rough side going down, and it made it look a little darker, so you can always look at the illusions that these napped fabrics do. So I'm going to cut these out. Normally I like to cut these with pinking shears because this fabric is going to shred like crazy, but pinking shears don't like to go through this fabric very well. So I'll cut this part out, and then I'm going to save the bear for last. For the contrast color, I just need one little part of the fabric, so I'm going to tear off, get this all straight right here. I think I just need it till this fold. I think it should tear on the length grain. Yep. So for this skirt to work really well, you want it to be on grain for sure, because it has to hang really straight. I just get a piece like that. I think I'll probably go iron out this crease, and then line the selvage up with that straight grain. I have one nice even piece. Although I'm going to have to true this up because the cross grain's not quite working. So I got to do some pressing and then truing it up. Then I have my middle pattern here. I'll get this all lined up on my cutting board and make sure my grain line is right on there so that this hangs really nice and straight. So I'm going to work on that. Okay, time to cut the bear out. I'm going to get him right in the center, maybe just a little lower. And this is actually the length grain, or the selvage is right here, so this is going to be cut on the cross grain, but the strength of the fabric is the same direction, so it should be fine. One little problem, the pattern doesn't fit all the way across. So what I'm going to do is I made a little side pattern here, and I'm going to cut out matching blue because it ends up, it's right here in the blue part right here, like this is the gray or blue, and then I'll cut this little piece here with the seam allowance, and then probably right on the white like this, cut them out and then sew it right there, sort of like what they do with leather. If you ever look at leather pieces, there's a lot of different pieces because the hide will only come so big anyway. But what I'll do is add a little piece of fabric here like that, and then there'll just be a seam there and nobody will probably know. Okay, my bear's cut out. I have this little part here. I had to turn it this way, make sure I got the color right side up. Like that. And what I'll do is I'll piece this right here, and it's going to be on the straight grain, so it should hide in there pretty well. A little bit blue right there, but it's going to look like that. Oh, it's the best I can get it. My other lighter blue didn't work out. Now what I'll do is just sew right down where this white strip is, so that'll get right in there. You'll never know there's a seam there. Because it also, the fabric moves around too, so just go like that. Needed a little more gray right here, but I didn't have it. And now I have to match up this gray here. This one will be a little easier to do because I already have it cut. And then I'll pop this off. See what gray I can get in there. It's going to be my best. Ooh, right there. And I'll add this to here and piece that together. I think I found a better swatch than this one. I think this right here, because the soft blue comes in here and that comes in here. So I think I'm going to cut another one. Make it a little bit more matchy. Got it all cut out. There's my bear. Looks so cute. I tried to get him on the lower part of the skirt without losing too much of that. So he's kind of in the middle. It's gonna be a good placement. I also got my little extensions in there. This one's a little on the darker side, but it'll see the fabric will move like this. You won't really see it. And then this one, I have a little tiny white spot there. That's probably gonna bug me, so I have to fix that. But you know, it's kind of, also the good thing is I have the panel number on the inside, so I can never lose it. I can find it. I could just Google it and get another bear. Be good. Then I have all my other pieces cut, and this is what this fabric does. So I have to keep my lint roller out. Just gonna work with it while it's shedding and then go after it later, and it's all over my table. I just get like a washcloth and just scoop up on I have used the cardboard cutting boards, and it just comes right up, and then I shake it outside, so it's a good way to keep it clean. I have all my notches clipped because to get this curve of the panel in there right, I really have to follow the notches because it's kind of like a slight curve, and you want it to lay just right so that it's really smooth in here. Also, I usually do some kind of piping to set the panel colors together, and I haven't thought of anything. I'm gonna have to take a look in my trim boxes to see what I could do, what color to use, or if anything. I don't know. I like to do that, but I'm gonna go take a look, and then I'm gonna start sewing this. I just thought of the perfect bias contrast. My black fabric. Ta-da! It's gonna look beautiful between these two fabrics. I think I'm gonna do that. Problem is, this fabric's really hard to cut on the bias because it moves around so much and probably pretty hard to sew. But I can tackle this. So, cutting this bias is going to be a nightmare. I didn't even press it before, but I'm having to just to do 1-inch marks and just really holding this down so the fabric doesn't slide. And at least it's 1 inch. And what I do is just go 5 inches up here, and then I'll go move it up to 6 to make sure my 5 is still marked here because it's so slippery. Oof. And then get it just a bunch of marks and try to cut it out the best I can, and just hold down the ruler the best I can, making chalk marks here that I hope I can keep seeing when I go to cut it out. Make sure they're blending up right here. I would have to pick a really hard fabric, but I think it will be worth it in the end. Okay, so then I'm going to cut real carefully here, and it's only a 1 layer because it doesn't fray too much. And then I also tested it that if it does fray, it looks kind of cool. I just want it to peek out 3/8 of an inch past the seam, and if the seam is 5/8 of an inch, it should fit in there really well. Have my bias pieces together. Hopefully I have the right lengths. And here is my plan of attack. I'm going to mark the fabric with one of these invisible pens 1 inch from the cut line, because I'm going to be sewing at 5/8, and then I want the bias to be at 3/8. So So since this fabric is just moving all over the place, I thought what I'll do is make the most important part, instead of putting it right on the edge here and hoping that it doesn't stretch, is to pin this using little silk pins too. This line right on, pinning it right on that mark, so that when I baste it, I'm going to make sure that the bias stays on that mark. See, some of it's not all the way at the inch right there, so that will at least help me to have it really even, like that. So I'm going to go and baste all of these strips. See, this one's even right here, it's going wider. This is tricky, but my most important part is that it look all even and be just poke out 3/8 of an inch, and if I get the seam allowances exactly at 5/8, it'll be good. But when I sew that velvet, velvet just moves all over the place, so I don't know how it's going to react to this. Hopefully it does okay. I just have to use a lot of pins, and I'm going to use silk pins, like these little ones here, so that I can sew right over them. Alright, have my first one on there, just 1 inch basted on there. I have to add the velvet over here. This is the one, this part goes to the velvet, and this is the bare. Then I did the next strip. I'm going to have the bare, actually this is the side seam here, and then the bare comes around in this part here. So I want to attach the velvet first with the smaller piece, because that velvet's going to slip around like crazy. So I thought I'd just get one part of this bias over here. Alright, lots of pins, because velvet slips, especially that velvet, it's thin and crazy. I'm going to put a lot of silk pins in here and just sew right over the pins. Don't tell my students. Okay, here are my 2 pieces. The goal is to sew this to that. And then it should poke out just a little bit. If it's not perfect, oh well. So now I got to match up notches. Got little clips right here, and I'm going to use silk pins. So start with those notches. I know there's another one here. There it is. Way over here. Just use my little silk pins. Then I'm going to put a pin every inch or so. Gotta get my little pins. I have these other magic pins here too, but they're a little bit longer. I guess they work too. I like these, match this seam up best I can, and just sew a 5/8 inch seam right here. I'm going to use this seam guide on my machine, and if I just sew that right there, 3/8 should poke out right there. So hopefully I've done the math right. Yeah, this is lighting up really good. So just put a million pins in here and go and sew this. Okay, got it stitched. Let's see how this looks. All these pins out. Then, ta-da! Looks good. See, it's a little short right here. Oh no. But the rest of it looks really good. So this one just tweaked in, so I got to open this up and pull that piece out. And then I'll carefully press. I think that seam goes there because I want the blues to go into the, or this contrast to go onto the blue. So looks good. One little fudge here, and I can fix that, I think. So right here. And yeah, it just kind of slid in here. Little pucker. Hope that's fixable. Okay, got this panel done. Got it pressed. And then this panel's done. And I just have to stay stitch up here so this doesn't stretch out, although really wouldn't hurt because I could use it to stretch out on the waist. But there we go. So I pressed this too, and I realized I packed away my Vela board, because whenever you use velvet, when you use a Vela board, I have a retreat that I'm hosting next week, and I packed a bunch of stuff away. Vela board was one of them. Oh well, so I had to use another piece of velvet when I pressed it backwards so that it wouldn't crush it. It seemed to work pretty good too, but I think I'm going to see if I can dig out that Vela board. I'm going to take a break. This was a lot. If I didn't have this bias on here, I probably would have had the skirt done by now. But this has been a little tedious. But I think it will really make a huge result. So I will see you tomorrow. Well, I'm back for another day of sewing to finish my bear skirt so I can wear it next week. Hope so. I just thought of this hem on the Panay velvet's going to be difficult. And I forgot my Vela board. So I'm going to have to use a scrap of velvet. Bummer. Anyway, so now my next step is to sew the side seams together. These are the two, one front, one back. And this is the only side seam there is on the skirt. And then the other piece here is the bear. So this is the part I have to sew right here. And then the bear comes in there. So after I do that, then I got to go continue this bias piece around the next side. And then I can put the bear in and see how it really looks. I'm so excited. Well, got that done. That part went a lot easier today than it did yesterday. Rest is good. If you get a little frustrated by something, just take a break. Anyway, so now, gotta pop the bear in here. Okay. Now for the bear. This is the goal. I have this rolled out here. The goal is to put the bear in the middle. So I have my notches. I usually just do little clip notches like this. I have a double notch and then a single notch on each side. Then I went in, put the invisible marker here, although it's dissolving pretty fast, just to help me find it, because it's real important for these notches to line up. That's how you get this to lay in here smoothly. So I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to start on this side because I'm going to pull it around this way in the direction I'm going to sew. So then I'm going to go around it and just pin. I remember last time I did this, I think I just did 1/2 of this and then came back and pinned the other, just so I didn't have a million pins. So I'm going to start at that double notch there. And I remember this one laid down really well at the bottom part. Yeah, it's a good matchup right here. And this should all match. If it doesn't, then I know I have a problem. Just pin, lots of pins, because then it just stays in place, because I'm fighting all these different grain lines here. And I probably won't sew over them. And then I got this is the next notch right here. And then I have, see, this one has it's a little bit bigger than that one. So I have to ease it in a little bit. Sometimes the basting stitch in the bias might tighten it up a tad. But I gotta get that to fit really good. I got it. And now I have my all-important V that matches up to the side seam right here. That is right at the center. So I'm going to go that way. And it is matching up. It has definitely a curve in here. And then that's the tricky part of this. So it's just, I pin it a lot just to ease it so gently in here. You could almost do an E stitch here, but I don't think it's quite enough. I have that right there. So I might just go and sew that half and then come back and do the other half. All right, that first panel went in really well. I used a seam guide and I got it exactly at 5/8. So I think this should all be really good. Yeah, that's how my bear looks. It's looking good. Now, so I just went a little bit past this one right here. I really started to have bunching problems up here because that fabric wants to curl in here, so I was being very careful. But now I got to go back around and do the next half, and I'll start with my notches, pin it, and then I'll show you how I tackled that part at the sewing machine. All right, well, I have my handy dandy seam guide here right on 5/8, and I have my speed control on medium, although I'm pretty good at speed control on a sewing machine. Not so much on a car, but you know. I'm gonna get it right. I think I'd stopped here. And also these little metallic threads right here, that's the, I just changed the needle actually when I came in today, and that's these metallic threads coming up. Somehow they're just popping up. I used a size 11 woven and a needle, and it's still doing that. I'm going to get started here, just do a quick little reverse, and then right here how I'm going to take that pin out, sometimes how I control the fabric is I use a hem gauge. I call it a hem gauge, it's a measurement gauge, because I use it mainly for hemming. I guess that's why. And I just kind of push the fabric so it doesn't stretch it too much. I'm going to take these pins out. That's the problem, you can't sew over pins with these gauges in, but you don't want to sew over pins with this anyway. It's not on the velvet. And I just have to push, just keep the fabric from stretching it just in these curved parts. I could have done an E-stitch too, but I didn't. I don't know why. I didn't think I really needed to. I'm in the home stretch. Seam guides are really handy. Okay, whew, got it right on there. Okay, let's see how this looks. Ta-da! Wow, here's my bear. So cute. Yeah, that bias really did offset it really great. Although I'm going to be pushing, pressing it towards the blue. So now I got to go press it. I don't have to worry about a vela board on that, but I'm going to press it wrong side. Yeah, because I want to I have to get this seam up all the way like this. I'm probably going to have to maybe clip some curves. And then I'm going to go ahead and sew the two side seams here. So I'll press it and do that, and then I'll put on the dress form and show you. Okay, I got it done. I tried it on real quick. I'm going to finish the elastic before I show you on the dress form. It is done, and it looks so pretty. Oh my gosh. Oh, now I have to do, because I'm square, all I have to do is put this roll over elastic on it. So I'm just gonna put it right around here, and I just stitch it with a quick little zigzag. It just wraps over like that. I've showed you, I have a few other videos that I actually show it on the sewing machine, but what I did was I sewed the center back, my hair off right here, it's gonna roll over that way. Then I found the center and then the side seams, and I put some marks on it. Then I just evenly stretch it and roll it and then zigzag it. And that's all I have to do on the waistband, because for me, I don't tuck anything in, and I just put, I wear black shirts over everything. And I don't have, this is actually navy, and this is actually, it's kind of like, I'm not sure, maybe it's black, the little fuzz right there, but it looks good with the black tank top, so I feel fuzz flying around here. But I'm gonna just finish that up. I'll put on the dress form, and then I'm gonna hem it. Ooh, it's almost done. Got the elastic on my skirt, even pressed up the hem, and here it is. There's the velvet side, and the contrast side, and the bear. Look how cute he is. I have to name this skirt. I name all my skirts. So this is the back, and all the way around to the side. So stick into my form here. But look how pretty it looks on that side. It's like Jekyll and Hyde. That is so much fun. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna love wearing this. Actually, I got the elastic on up here. I just did like a pretty wide zigzag. I have to make sure nobody sees that. But and then I used navy thread. That was not a good idea. I got too lazy to change the thread color because I had to keep changing the thread color on this one. Now all I got to do is hem it. So I went ahead and pressed. I marked it 1 inch all the way around, and then I pressed it, and then I got the little corners right here. So this is the one corner with the bias sticking out there, and then I clipped in there to make sure I can get it as smooth as I can, and then pressed it. A lot of the trick to hems and also really making everything look professional is pressing. And you might have noticed I used a lot of pins in here, so pins and pressing. And I actually made a class about it. It's called Pro Tips, and I have it for free on my Teachable site, and I'll leave a link here, or the website here, and then a link in the description. And then it's called 5 Pro Tips for Professional Sewing. So a lot of the tips that I use or that I do to make my clothes look like, you know, couture and not really like sloppy homemade, because homemade is good but not sloppy homemade. So, and pressing is one of them. But this is all I have to do. Now I'm going to be doing, I'm going to actually stitch it with light blue thread here, the medium slate, like slate blue grayish thread here, and then probably black thread here, even though this is technically navy. Anyway, so there is my skirt. Very excited to wear this. I also thought I might have to, because my shirts are going to come to about here, rub on this. I might put a little bit of that glue type webbing right up in here to keep that down, because that would start to fray out a lot. Be sure to watch the other video that I have out on this skirt, the bird skirt here, and I have another bird skirt video. It's called my Sewcation with my friend Stacy. I made another type of bird skirt on that video. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you learned anything or had a good time watching it, give me a thumbs up. Well, I better put my crown back on, because I'm Chanel Queen of Skirts. I'll see you in my next video.